season. Plus, we're going to stay in New York because startling news on the Liberty front this morning. What led to Sandy Brondello's firing, and where do the defending champs go from here? And what will be the deciding factor in tonight's pair of Game 2s in the W? Our panel of experts, they are standing by to get you ready for the semis. NBA Today starts right now.
Couple of Game 2s coming your way Tuesday.
Nothing else matters more than this moment right here, guys. Come on.
Kelsey Mitchell again.
Kelsey is definitely the head of the snake for us. She's just a tough shot maker. It's on us to just come out with that pep in our step.
Oh, the wizardry of Courtney Williams.
We never feel like we down. We're a resilient group.
That's the beauty of the series. We'll go back, watch the video, and see what we can do better.
We have a really crucial pair of Game 2s tonight, but we're going to start our show with breaking news. Sandy Brondello out as head coach of the New York Liberty. In a statement released by the team, it says in part, quote, Sandy finishes her tenure in New York as the winningest coach in franchise history, and she took us to never-seen-before heights as the first head coach to lead the Liberty to a championship. They ended by saying, we wish Sandy the very best in her next chapter. And here's a look at the numbers that back that up, right? She's also one of two coaches in the WNBA history, all time, to win a title with multiple franchises, and her 40 playoff wins. They are the second most all time behind Cheryl Reeves. So for more on this, we welcome in our insider, Alexa Philippou, to the show. Alexa, this was surprising for a lot of folks this morning. A year removed from winning the title, what exactly led to the parting of ways between the Liberty and Sandy Brondello here?
Well, Malika, I know you guys talk about this a lot in the NBA and in other sports, but it was really championship or bust for New York and for Sandy Brondello. And in fact, if they hadn't won the championship last year, we might have been having this conversation a year ago, which is maybe a little startling to fans outside, given how, excuse me for those noises, for how impactful she'd been for that franchise. But that is how bullish this organization is in New York, and how their ownership and management really are looking to just continue upon that success that they were able to get last year. We know that Brianna Stewart said the other day when they lost in Game 3 that they had Sandy's back. We actually just talked with Becky Hammond here at Aces Shoot-Around. She said she did not love this move for Sandy, and really just spoke to the fact that she is such a quality person and quality coach, and that is such a rare mix for a head coach in all really sports to have. And so I think for New York moving forward, I would expect them to really, again, be bullish in who they go after. We know that they are a WNBA franchise that invests a lot in a lot of resources, a lot of financial, capital into these decisions. So I think it wouldn't be shocking, though, if they decide to go after maybe someone in the NBA, someone that we might be a little bit more of a non-traditional hire. I do think Sandy Brondello has a great shot of getting hired again. We know what she has done in this league. We know that there's openings in Seattle, for example, in addition to the two expansion franchise that are still yet to hire their coaches. So definitely some things to look in developing, weeks and whatnot. But it is the end of an era for sure for Brondello and New York.
Yeah, the Liberty said that the search for their next head coach, it is getting underway immediately. We have heard that before in New York, and we've seen it dry out for weeks, of course, in the NBA. I'm really curious about whether or not they're going to go with someone with a lot of experience. That's the thing with Sandy. Coaching a veteran squad, it takes someone oftentimes that's been there before. And Alexa, of course, we will continue to check in with you along the way. More on the W later in our show, but elsewhere in New York, it is media day for the Nets and for the Knicks, also the Pelicans. We're going to get to them a little bit later. But players and coaches, they spoke this morning ahead of training camp. Here's what new head coach Mike Brown had to say about coaching his new star point guard. Take a listen.
He seems like he's a versatile player, and the biggest thing that I want to do for him is try to get him, as well as everybody else, easy shots. And one of the easiest shots in the game of basketball is a spray three. I'm a big proponent of touching the paint and spraying that basketball for a catch and shoot three. And so within what we do, we're going to try to get him a lot of those.
Obviously, everyone being new to this is going to take some time, but very excited to get to learn more and understand his philosophies and his concepts. And I think once we get started, we're going to go off to the right path.
I'm excited for this team. We have great depth that gives us a chance to feel good about any part of the season, whatever the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs that go on, that we have a team that's fully ready to go regardless of the situation.
All right, a whole lot to dive in there. Shams Charania, Brian Windhorst, and Kendrick Perkins, of course, joining me as well. Our front office insider, Bobby Marks, he will be by in just a minute. Brian, there's a lot there. The Knicks diving straight into the X's and O's of the season. What was your biggest takeaway? What do you think fans should know after listening to the Knicks today?
Well, Malika, I am very fluent in training camp speak, so let me translate this for all of our viewers. The Knicks are planning on making a very long playoff run, and so they want to begin September and October thinking about May and June. They don't want to say it like that, but they know that Jalen Brunson has one of the biggest workloads in the NBA. He actually was 17th in minutes last year, but he led the league in dribbles. You know what that means? It means that he did a lot of work in his time, and frankly, the idea of playing him less minutes than that is not likely, especially when he's the clutch player of the year and your team is built largely around him finishing games. So from October onward, they know they're not going to be able to play him less, but they want to stress him out less over the course of the next 6 months. Whether or not they actually follow through with it, we'll wait and see. But that's what the plan that Mike Brown and Jalen Brunson are essentially talking about.
Well, if they plan on playing in June, I definitely don't want to hear about they sweet nothings about the offensive end. That's not the problem. I want to hear about defense. If you're going to play in the June, you got to be able to defend, and it starts with your two stars. And right now I'm looking at Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on what they did last year, smothered chicken, oxtails, and sweet potato pie. That's how sweet they are defensively. You look at Karl Anthony Towns and you look at some numbers right here. He ranked 43rd out of 50 qualified players in field goal percentage allowed. He was getting scored on 60% of the time. If the Knicks are going to take that leap, getting to the NBA Finals, trying to win a championship, it's going to be because of Karl Anthony Towns and his ability to be able to anchor the defense. We know that he's one of the most skilled bigs to play offensively of all time. One of the best, if not best, shooting big to play the game of basketball. But defense wins championships, and that's what I want to hear from now to this start, going into training camp, all the way throughout the course of the season when Mike Brown addressed this team is the defensive side of things.
Well, there was another D word that came up a lot for the New York Knicks last year, and that was depth, Perk. This Knicks team, of course, it kept its core together, but they also added new bench pieces, and you have said that you wanted to see, particularly in the regular season, leaning a little bit more on the bench. So what else, Shams, needs to be done for this team before they start the season if they're going to have the long playoff run that Brian is saying that they're looking toward?
Yeah, Malika, the Knicks need to finalize multiple key positions on their bench, and that's two players, Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet both signed deals with the intent and the plan for them both to be on the roster on opening night and this regular season. Brogdon, I'm told he's expected to play a key bench role in the rotation. Landry Shamet's a guy you can kind of plug and play whenever you need a player on the wing to eat up some minutes as the season goes on. He's also well respected, but how do you do that? They have a lot of cap issues right now that they've got to work through. What does that mean? But both those players signed a deal. They're expected to be on this team.
When you talk about flexibility, I think of Bobby Marks, not because he can do the splits, but because he makes sure that we understand the financial flexibility. He is here with us now. Bobby, when we take a look at the Knicks depth chart here, Mike Brown has said he's not sure who the fifth starter is going to be. How are they going to utilize them?
Well, listen, when we look at the players that are underlined, this is the starting lineup from last year. The second most points per game since 1986 and 87. They joined Denver last year. We talked about depth. Look at all this depth. They went out. Certainly Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. They bring back Miles McBride, and they signed Jordan Clarkson. I think there's some big questions here when we're looking at the Knicks offseason. I think there's four different things here. It's NBA Finals or bust when we're looking at it. I equate it almost to what Detroit did 20 years ago. Rick Carlisle out, Larry Brown in. They go out and win a championship. Who's the fifth starter? Is it going to be Josh Hart or certainly Mitchell Robinson? The revamped bench, last in minutes per game, and who is the odd man out in a trade? We're almost on the 1-year anniversary of the Karl Anthony Towns trade. It's not going to be as big, but New York does have to make a trade because of the second apron to keep Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet on this roster.
It's fascinating that even for a team that we talk about as one or two in the Eastern Conference, they still have this much left to address. Bobby, any splits for the road? No, we're not going to try that. All right,
my pants are a little tight today.
Then we will split to break. How about that? Coming up here on NBA.